All right, so the other option I have for this photo is to print it a little bit smaller to make it fit within an 8x10 mat. Now, if I try to put all 9 by 13 inches on the 8x10 mat, this is what will happen. It will crop down and I'll lose a lot of my image, right? And maybe I don't want that. Maybe I like that, and then I want to control it. And in that case, I would change how I mat it. But the project for this was to keep the native format of your camera and to keep that preserved. So what am I going to do? Well, I go to image size, and I know I need this to fit within 8x10, but it's not going to fit perfectly within 8x10. So I uncheck resample, so I'm using the original pixels, and I make it 8 inches wide, and sure enough, it's 8x12, not 8x10. So I know that my height is my limiting factor. But if I make it 10 for my height, I have plenty of resolution, and it's 6.944, but this is then what it will look like. Let's see, what size was it? It was basically 7 by 10 inches. So then what that looks like in an 8x10 window is it will stretch the height, because that's 10 inches, but the 7-inch width will give me just ½ an inch of white on each side. And I don't want stripes of white around it. So better to shrink it a little bit more so I get white all the way around it. So I go to image size, I don't have resample checked, and instead I'm going to make it 9 inches tall. And then, oh, that's so close to 6, I'll make it by 6 by close to 9. And this is how I'll usually print. I can go to canvas size just to see how much white that shows me. That's usually how I'll print my native format photos. And with the white behind, you can see that the exposure shows up, and that looks pretty nice. So then I would say layer, flatten image. If there's any final processing I want to do, I can do that before I flatten it. Like if I wanted to, let's see, just brighten everything a little bit. Sometimes when we look back at these pieces, we decide they can be a little bit better. We just haven't looked at them in a while. Maybe just brighten it up a little bit. I could play with taking out the edges completely, but I don't think it's a good idea. So maybe that's what I like best. Remember, this is just your print one, so you can play with it. And now I'm going to say it's flattened. Now I'm going to say File, Save As, my print ready, or PR, assignment 4 as a TIFF format with LZW compression, which is a lossless compression format. And I should save it to the desktop. Okay, so that one's ready to print. That's another project. Well, let's go to maybe one of my texture study one. I open up my PSD, which is my highest resolution one. This is 9 by 12, but it already has white space in it. So if I go to image size, I can pretty much just submit it like this, because what I'm going to do is just change its width to this, and then when we mat it, it will look like this, and that's nice and even. So this one's all kind of set to go already. So I'm going to save that. Oh, I'm going to flatten it first. Layer, flatten. Remember, all these directions are in the Dropbox. Save as a TIFF with LZW compression. The important thing is to make sure that at the size you want it to print, it has adequate resolution, at least 300 resolution. Looks nice and close up. Save it as my print ready flattened TIFF to the desktop with LZW. And then the one I want all of you to print is your Cubist project. And that one's ready to go for me. That's going to be the large paper. But I haven't saved it as print ready yet. So I open up my TIFF, which has all of my different subtle coloring options, and I might revisit these, play with them, make it exactly what I want. But I think it looks pretty good. It's already the right size, and it's for the largest size. Even though it's 300, not 350, 300 is big enough, and it's going to perfectly fill this large mat. So I want to say File or Layer, Flatten Image to save on memory space, then save as a TIFF to the desktop and put print ready or PR in the name. Okay, now I need to upload these to the class Dropbox. So here's Dropbox. I need to go to my folder, and then I'm going to click on this upload link, choose my files. You can drag and drop, or you can use the uploader. And on my desktop, it's just all the ones that say print ready or PR. These are all ready to go. They're going to run smoothly in the printer. They're going to load quickly because they're flattened. And yet they're high quality, high resolution, not going to lose integrity as I make changes to them because they're TIFFs. And TIFFs are a lossless compression format as long as you're using LZW. So you see that didn't take very long at all. Now they are open and ready to be used on the printer. And that's all you can do from your workstation. Now we have to move back to the printer to finish it up. So I'm going to pretend that this is the print computer, even though it's not. And what we'll do is we'll open up Dropbox from the print computers, and you'll see your folder in there, which is for photography, and then you'll see your folder in there, and you'll open your files right from there. So pretend we've done that. And I'm opening up my assignment right from where I want. Open it with Photoshop. You can't just double click TIFF or they'll open in preview. So you want to right click and open with Photoshop. We print through Photoshop. And once they open, you'll see that they're flat. If not, you want to flatten them. Oh, I opened the wrong one. That won't happen in Dropbox. It should open fairly quickly. All right, so then you go, it's the PR one. What am I doing? I should be doing this from the desktop. Sorry. But on that back computer with the printer, you'll open it from the Dropbox file. And then you see that it's flattened. You can check its image size, but they should all be good, right? And you go to File, Print, and I'll help you with it. And then what you need to do is you need to make the layout work, and you need to pick the paper that works. This isn't set up to work with the large scale printer. So I'm just going to make it fit on an 8x10. And if we need to, as long as we have enough resolution, we can shrink it to fit within whatever parameters we want. So right now it's 10 inches, 10.4 inches by 6.9. That works side to side, but not height-wise to fit within an 8 by 10. So I can actually just type it in here. At most, I want it to be 8 inches wide, 10 inches tall. And because it has the white anyway, this would be the size I would print it for an 8 by 10. Its resolution is 540 at that size. That's really big, but it's better to be too big than too small. And then the settings I use, I want Photoshop to manage my colors. I'm going to set it to something we don't have set on this computer because we don't have our printer installed, but we're going to use sRGB for Epson R1900 Premium Presentation White. And we'll see that setting. That's the printer profile we need. And we're going to have relative colorimetric, and we're going to have black point compensation on. And then we can hit print. And if we have paper loaded into the printer and we have the printer turned on, it will work beautifully. And I'm going to do that with you now because I'm starting to see stuff coming in to the flattened TIFFs. And so we're going to start printing these. And we'll go to the back of the room for that. For these midterm prints, I'm going to be there printing with you, helping you out. A lot of that next class, right, is getting ready for these. It's a good class to bring mats to, but if you don't know what mat size is, wait until you have the prints so you know, and then get them matted over the weekend or buy your mats over the weekend. But I'll be showing you how to tape them and all of that, getting ready for our midterm. All right. Done.